You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your always entertaining and charming host, and with me is my partner,
the groggy one, sleepy one, Rocco.
See, I told him to go get coffee before this, and he didn't listen. It's all your own fault. Don't you start making people feel sorry for you.
They do. They do. They know what I have to go through. They feel.
There's no way to talk about being married to your wife. She's a lovely woman. It couldn't be that you're my partner and that I make you crazy. That's just not. No. Couldn't be. So, all right. So what are you doing? Oh, I know. So I wanted to talk today about a construction-related topic, right? One that quite literally affects every single construction company out there. Look, I don't care if you're a tiny subcontractor or a multinational GC doing billion-dollar plus projects. We all have to work with construction documents, right? and get them organized for both our own people in house and the other companies and contractors and trades and whatnot that we need to work with. Now, that may not sound like a real big thing on the face of it, but believe it or not, over 50%, right, of every single work week in a construction firm is spent finding and searching through construction documents for data. That means that everybody that you work with, right, from the CEO down to, your installer operator, they're spending full half of every single day just trying to find the files and the information that they need to work on the project. You think about this, right? How much faster, cheaper, and better could we build, right, if we restored that missing 50% of the work week for people to focus on your projects instead of endlessly searching for information. The cost here, it's just mind-blowing, right? It can mean the difference in literally millions of dollars each year that's just passing through your fingers. So how do you fix this problem, right? Where do we start? Well, the good thing, right, is that I have a very simple answer for most of you. And for most of you, it means not even having to buy any new software, but just making better use of what is already sitting on your desktop, right? Look, in the construction world, we live and die with PDF documents in modern world, right? Our construction documents are delivered, hosted, updated, marked up, revised, reissued as PDF files. It's all we work with. And it's there that we lose all of our production time, right? Now, luckily, close to 80% of the construction firms here in the U.S. make use of tools like Bluebeam Review, right? Which is exactly what you need to fix this issue. So on today's show, I want to get it kind of into the how of this, right? The best practices to use a basic tool like Bluebeam to simplify file access and control on all of your your construction documents, everything from plans to specs to bids and so on. So, Rocco, before I get into the how of this, let's talk about Bluebeam for a minute, right? How many of our construction clients regularly use Bluebeam, and more importantly, right, since I know a lot of them do you think that they're using it to its full potential right now, or do you find that they're just using it as a markup tool?
Yeah, just about everybody that we talk to is using it, and I mean, the great thing is for people who don't have it is that it's a really affordable tool. I mean, when you compare it to some of the other tools that are out there in the industry, you're looking at a couple $100 for a license of Bluebeam, and it's a one-time perpetual license. The usage, yeah, it's definitely underutilized. I mean, a lot of people tell me that as well, but it's getting more and more usage. I mean, I think people are, thanks to people like us.
There you go.
We're trying to get the education out there, right? I mean, whether it's through a podcast like this or a webinar, We do a lot of training on Bluebeam and related services, but the product is definitely underutilized. So that's that.
All right, so I think that the key to getting people into the documents that they need quickly is to take away the need for them to go searching through different servers and different folders and subfolders to find the correct files, right? So I mean, let's face it, right? Even when your end users get to the right location, unless they have or you have a really well defined and regulated file naming system in place, it's kind of a crapshoot on if they can even tell which of the 100 files in that folder is the right one that they need. They're often reduced to just kind of clicking and hoping that the next file that they open is the one that they're looking for. And with Bluebeam, you can remove the guesswork in two ways, right? One basic and one a little bit more advanced. The advanced process is using the sets feature, right? That's built into the system, and that's where Bluebeam can put together a master table of contents that links to files anywhere in the world. Right? In other words, that table of contents can link to files on the architect's Dropbox site and the structural engineer's Google Drive and the electrical engineer's Bluebeam Studio host, right? And some other files that you got on your own local server. And it's a great tool, right? It builds just this kind of master project set that you can just click and open those files. So it is a great tool, but it does require a little bit of knowledge and cooperation by all the different parties involved to set it up. Really, really nice tool. The more basic process is one that you should consider on every single one of your projects, and that is using the bookmarks tool to create a single PDF file, right, with hyperlinks to all of the other files on your project. Right? So the great thing is, Bluebeam, and most people know this, you can open and read the titles and the page numbers, or honestly anything else you want on your PDFs. Bluebeam can read them, and then it can write them to a single PDF with hyperlinks. In other words, it just creates like a single PDF that has a series of blue hyperlinks going down it with the names of the files. And all you have to do is then just save that file to the root of the project folder, or even put it out on the web or on the intranet. Right? And users just open up that one location, that one PDF, and all they have to do is just click the link with the name of the file they're looking for to open it, right? Without any type of browsing or searching, or even having to know the least little bit about the file structure you have in place. Not required, right? How much easier is that, right? You basically, the idea is open PDF, click drawing name, opens file, done. It's a brilliant little process. So, Rocco, how many people that you talk to are kind of actively looking for better file access processes in that construction space, right? Is it a big issue, or do you find it's really something we need to discuss and point out to people like we're doing here on the podcast today?
I think it's I think it's a bigger issue with smaller firms, particularly if there's one good thing that's come out of the pandemic, right, is forcing companies to be more organized and structured in how they work, because people are in remote locations and need to access files much more easily. I think that a lot of larger companies have had that process already in place, so they're just tightening it up.
Yeah, that's good. It's good that they're actually making use of the tools. That's always a plus. The next tool that I kind of want to talk about is Bluebeam's native ability to automate the hyperlinking of details and callouts right directly inside your PDF. Look, every plan, every document that we work with has tags and callouts, right? Things like see detail, it's 10/A12-1, right? Which means refer to detail 10 on sheet A12-1, or they have a call out right to a section of the specification, like refer to section 1602 natural material sources, and those are set up on the plans by the designers, and they've been that way for literally hundreds of years, and they're really useful as they stand. But it still means that you still need to know where file A12.1 is saved, right? And then you have to go out, you have to find it, you have to open it. then you have to browse all around inside that file and zoom in and out until you find detail 10, right? And honestly, that's even worse when you get into this, the specifications, since those things can literally be thousands of pages long. You can spend a half an hour easily just scrolling through the spec to find that section 1602. Wouldn't it just be nicer and easier, right, if you could just click on that detail or spec call out and have the PDF open for you and zoom you right to the correct location in that file? Well, that's exactly what Bluebeam can do. It can create hyperlinks from any location or any call out in one PDF and link to just about any other location in another PDF, or even to a different location in the same PDF for that matter. It can link to anything. The idea is creating an integrated construction document set that eliminates confusions and questions about the where and the how of accessing the construction information that your people need. We can take that and we can reduce it all down to just kind of a just click here type of interface. There's like a big circle or a big yellow spot on the page that you just click on, and that opens everything you need. So look, now I know what people are thinking when they hear this. You're thinking, hey, Jim, that sounds great, but I do not have the time to go through a 500-page set of drawings, applying 50 or more links on every single page, and make sure that they're all pointing to the right locations. It'll take forever. And I get it. You're right. You don't have that kind of time, and that's okay, right? Because Bluebeam can actually do it all for you automatically, right? When you have the extreme version of Review, which admittedly is the most expensive one, but still very affordable. When you have extreme, you have the batch link function, right? And the auto linking function, which will read, right? It goes through just like it reads titles and page numbers. It reads the call outs on every single plan, and it creates hyperlinks on those call out locations, and it maps them to the correct corresponding page. So when it reads, hey, this is a detail on A12, it links that A12 on the floor plan to the A12 sheet. So you can just click on it and open up the A12 sheet, right? Now, how easy is that? Now, look, admittedly, like I said, that process is kind of limited to page linking, right? It links you to the page, not to the specific details, right? The specific details, you would still need to kind of manually link those. But, even that is way easier than most people think. So, Rocco, how many of our clients are actively working on kind of setting up their projects this way? Or do you find that they're taking the time to prep their construction sets, or are they just kind of dropping them in people's laps like they were old-fashioned paper documents going, here, figure it out?
It's a blend. It comes down to a little bit of training, right? And learning how to do it, and or dedicating the time to learn how to do it, because plenty of people learn Bluebeam on their own. It's not an impossible package to learn, and again, we can help with the training, but it's all about investing time, and no matter what you do, it's you gotta put some time up front, but the benefits are certainly worth it, as you're describing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So the hyperlinking and the file connection tools in Bluebeam, right? They go really far beyond the basics that I've talked about so far. Bluebeam can categorize your bookmarks into industry stats, and it can automate page labeling and page numbering. It can even automate document overlays and updates and tracking revisions, while maintaining all your current markups and measurements. It does a lot more. So let's take a break here to hear a word from today's sponsor. And when we get back, I want to talk more about the tools and processes in Bluebeam that you can use to dramatically improve file and project access. All right, so stand by, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast.
All right, everybody. Today's episode of the Cattle Call Podcast is brought to you by Zen-Tech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. We're bringing ourselves to you. Aren't we nice? So we wanted to talk to you guys today about some of the things that we offer at Zen-Tech Consultants. In particular, we wanted to talk to you today about our offerings around developing and upgrading your CAD standards. We are here to help you guys with all of your CAD standard needs, from ongoing drafting and design support to block and library development, full CAD standards development, right? CAD version upgrades, really whatever it is that you guys need when it comes to developing, implementing, and tweaking your current CAD standards. Or like I said, if you don't have any yet, we can help you build them from scratch. So Rocco, why don't you tell all the good folks how they can reach out to us and start that conversation?
Yeah, there's a lot of information, people, on our website, zentechconsultants.net. That's ZENTEK consultants.net. Or you can give us a call, 866-824-4459, or even drop us an email, sales@zentechconsultants.net.
Ooh, nice. CAD standards from Zentech Consultants. You're listening to the Cattle Call Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast, where we're talking about intelligent setup of construction PDFs that can save you crazy amounts of time and money and aggravation on every project. And the next thing that I want to talk about here today is Bluebeam's ability to tag items as places. Right? It's a formal tool inside Bluebeam. And those places can then be targeted as the destination for a hyperlink. In other words, you can kind of predefine and name any spot on any plan, and then easily target that with links later on. And I kind of think, the best way for you guys to understand what I'm talking about here, since this is an audio podcast and not a vlog where you can see it, is to kind of use construction details as an example. So if I open up a detail sheet, right, Bluebeam will let me just go in and draw rectangles around each detail and name it, right? And I can do an entire sheet of details in, a couple of minutes, right? And then when I save it, the names and the locations of those details are saved as part of the PDF. So now I can go to any other PDF, right, and create a hyperlink on any call out or any area of my plan or any note that I put on it, and point it to my detail PDF. And Bluebeam just gives me a drop-down list of all the named places in that file. Right? So, for example, right, if I need to connect from my floor plan to detail 12, I just choose detail 12 from the drop-down list, and now there is a link between the plan and the specific detail. And, the really great thing here is, that when this type of link, right, is clicked on when using the places, the detail that you're connecting to, it opens up and zooms to that detail. The detail fills your screen instead of just being taken to whatever page it's on, right? So you don't have to search for it. And just to make life a little bit easier, Bluebeam also has a really nice little button on the bottom of the screen. It's called Previous View. So you can just, click on the detail, click the button, and it takes you back to your plan. So you can click, back and forth 100 times, right? If you need to kind of coordinate between what's going on in the plan, what's going on in the detail, what's going on in the plan, right? So look, and I explained that, right, with details, right, just to kind of hopefully help you guys visualize what I'm talking about here a little bit. But this works with any PDF location, right? Do you need to link a section, in your spec to a room on the floor plan? Not a problem. Right? You need to link from, a detail to a table in your estimate. No worries. Right? You want to jump users from the site plan to a general note. All they have to do is click. Right? And yeah, this part, it's a bit more interactive and it does require some dedicated setup time. But it is the type of situation where a few hours invested at the start of your job can literally save you thousands of man hours of searching, right? And trying to find the right things. And it removes countless amounts of confusion, right? And the need for, dozens of RFIs because people can't find the right information. Right? And that's really when we can eliminate that. That's where we really start to increase profits on our construction jobs. So Rocco, like we said earlier, right? Almost all our construction clients use Bluebeam at some level. How many of them are actively looking for processes like this that makes their PDF a little bit smarter when they provide it to subcontractors and so on?
Oh yeah, the ones that are really pushing the limits of Bluebeam, they're really looking for this functionality. I mean, we have the a linking to Excel video that you actually did, Jim, and we get calls in all the time because they find that video on YouTube and they want to learn more. So as you get deeper into the use of the product, they really start to realize that this linking capability is huge.
Yeah. It's got major benefits. But I'm convinced that people don't call in because they're interested in linking Bluebeam and Excel. They just love my charming voice. That's what it is. Maybe not so
not
much.
quite. No,
Not quite. Okay, that was
no,
worth a shot.
no. Sorry.
All right, just shoot my ego down. Go ahead, be that guy. All right. So look, folks. One of the simplest things I think that you can do to make PDF access simpler is to do one of two polar opposites. Okay, two different ways that you may have to go here. So you can either use Bluebeam to split really big PDFs into smaller sets, or you can use Bluebeam to combine individual files into larger sets. Bluebeam is going to let you do it either way. So what I'm saying, and hey, I know that seems a little weird, is that if your deliverable, what you get from the architect or the engineer, is you get a single PDF, one big PDF that has 500 individual sheets inside of it. That file can be an absolute monster to work with, right? Particularly if it hasn't been properly set up and scaled and hyperlinked. And you can actually begin simplifying that, right? Just by using Bluebeam, to break it down into manageable sets at manageable sizes, right? For things like, take all the architectural plans, put those in an architectural PDF, and the civil plans and the structural plans, and break it out that way. Which also gives you, they're a lot easier, number one, to open up, right? They're easy to work with and find things in a 15-page civil PDF instead of that 500-page monstrosity. And it also gives you the ability to have multiple people opening up different sections and working on different things, right? One person can be working the civil estimate while somebody else is going and getting information off the structural set. So you can break those giant ones down into something that's a little bit more reasonable for your people to work with. Okay? And like I said, the opposite, the inverse of that, right, is that on the other side of that coin, I have seen a lot of construction sets where everything is delivered as individual PDF files. And then think about that, right? Imagine that same set of 500 drawings coming as 500 separate PDFs, and that are named because they just printed them out and didn't think about it. They're called page 1 PDF, page 2 PDF, page 3 PDF. You don't know what's in any one of those files, right? That's an absolute nightmare. But I guarantee, I promise that everybody on this podcast today, everybody listening in, has had that exact thing happen to them on jobs. It's actually really common. And with Bluebeam, you can take and you can assemble those individual files or individual files, back into rational sets in just a few minutes, right? So again, kind of getting you back to that same concept of rationally sized civil, structural, MEP groups of PDFs. Again, you can just blend them all, say, hey, sheets 10 through 25, those are all the structural drawings. Put them together in one PDF. Bluebeam does that, right? Very, very quickly, very easily. And again, there's a small investment of time up front, but that kind of structure can have really positive benefits in the construction world down the road. So, Rocco, do you get a lot of complaints from people in construction about the quality of the deliverables that they're getting from designers, right? Are they struggling to piece together, reasonable file structures from massive data drops from the architects and the engineers?
Yeah, we definitely see that. I mean, it's not something I talk to people about every day, but I think when we have deeper conversations with people, it definitely comes up. You hear that too, right?
Oh yeah. On the tech side, it's always a thing, right? Because what happens a lot of time is that, the CAD people who are responsible for generating the PDFs and the drawings, they're in a hurry. They're busy just like everybody else, and they just open up and they hit print. And the biggest thing they do is they'll either, drop, like I said, the 500 sheets in one set with no naming, or they'll drop out all those PDFs, and it's just, with no kind of rational naming to it. Excuse me, it doesn't say like A1 first floor plan or A2 second floor plan. It's just, page 1, page 2, page 3. And nobody can sort or figure out what's in any given drawing without having to go back and manually rename them and do a whole nightmare. So, yeah, I see it a lot. So the last big thing I think that I wanted to kind of point out to construction people listening in today for their PDF setup is Bluebeam's ability to define named spaces. Again, spaces is a specific tool in Bluebeam. And spaces are real-world named locations that Bluebeam can read and identify on your plans. All right, so it means you can go in and you can just outline and name, rooms, zones, areas, phases, floors, buildings, lots, blocks, right? Anything that you need to kind of, group together or name on your plan set. And all you have to do is just, outline it with a polyline, so to speak, just sketch around it and give it a name. Right? And from there, Bluebeam can identify and sort any objects that you create inside those spaces automatically. And I want you all to think about that for a minute, right? Do you want to be able to order all the parts that you need to finish phase 1 electrical work? Bluebeam can generate a parts list for that, not a problem. All right, do you need to know which areas in your 30-story hotel need emergency light type A? Not a problem. Bluebeam can put that list together for you. All right? And this becomes particularly important if you're trying to work with prefab structures, right? Which we all know can be a big cost savings, right? We're all kind of pushing in that direction now. Think about it, right? Do you want to have like all your metal studs pre-cut and delivered to the correct floor, the correct hall, the correct location on your site for the new conference room, right? Bluebeam can do that for you too. It'll tell you exactly what you need and where it goes. And the ability to generate lists and reports based on real world locations is priceless for the construction world, right? I mean, all you have to do is just outline a space on your PDF, give it a name, and from there, Review generates, a lot of other information too, right? It'll generate for you the room areas. So if you need to do floor and ceiling takeoffs, it'll generate counts of how many objects, specific types are in each room, and list all the items in that space. It can even generate enlarged plans for those spaces. It'll let you hyperlink directly to those spaces. Just like we talked about with places earlier, you can use spaces the same way. So I can, target individual rooms as part of my hyperlinks. Spaces really are a vital tool that I think every construction project should put in place before doing anything else on their job. First thing you do the day you get in those construction docs. And yes, it requires setup time and effort, but it pays for itself almost immediately. And from there, it just increases profits and reduces problems, and it reduces errors, and it makes everybody's life easier. All right, so Rocco. So all the things that we talked about today that you can do in Bluebeam, we actually offer that as a service here at Zentech for our construction clients. We have a whole program for this. So why don't you tell people what the program is called, how do they get details on it, and how can they work with us to handle all of these things we talked about for them on their next job?
Yeah, it's our construction project setup services, and you could see the details on our website, zentechconsultants.net. And we can help you with everything Jim described, everything from scaling to labeling to linking. We offer three different tiers that are part of the program. And if that doesn't meet your needs, and again, you're just looking for us to work with you for a couple hours of training, or you have a larger group and you need us to train your staff as to how to get up to speed on all this, let us know. And feel free to also check out, Jim has done tons of webinars on Bluebeam, guys. I mean, they're available on demand. There's always a live webinar that's coming up on our website as well. Again, zentechconsultants.net. We also offer Bluebeam tool chest setup services, which we didn't get into too much, but we can help you from that angle, or offer pre-built tools that you can purchase and just drop right inside of Bluebeam for your regular use. So there's a lot of automation that can be done, and a lot that you can do on your own. It's not impossible, but we're here to help things along.
There you go. See, everybody, I made Rocco happy today, right? I gave him a chance to plug one of our offerings to you guys, and I normally don't let him do that, but he begged me. Apparently his new yacht needs like gold plating on its keel or something. You know how he gets when he's not getting his gold plating. So, all right, folks. All right, we're going to get out of here. All right, everybody have a great day, and we will catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast.
All right, everybody, today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from you all.